Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Super Bowl Sunday. It is February 12th, I think. This is episode 10 of Wheelhouse Knits podcast. My name is Heather Johnston, and I am coming to you from just outside of St. John, New Brunswick, Canada, where I live with my husband, Adam, and my soon-to-be 5-year-old son, Sawyer. Those two are upstairs, so Sawyer's having some quiet time. So if you hear some banging, I apologize because he is playing construction up there. But yeah, I thought I would hop on and record an episode while I have a minute. I have quite a few things that I have finished that I wanted to show you. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram. I am Wheelhouse Knits, and I'll put it below here. And I also try and mention everything I talk about kind of down below if I can remember in the comment section. We are gearing up for Super Bowl Sunday here. We are big football fans. We're Packers fans, so we don't have any stake in the game today, but quite a few people I work with are pretty big Eagles fans, and one's a big KC fan. So if you care about football at all, today is a big day. We have all of our snacks ready to go. We're gonna go bowling after quiet time and then watch the game. I let my hair air dry last night when I went to bed, and I don't know if anybody has seen the very first Harry Potter movie, but when I do that, I get Hermione hair. My husband actually did a side-by-side comparison, and if I can find the picture, I will put it in, because yeah, it's bad. My hair's really thick, so I'm embracing it today. So I hope you guys are all having a great day, and I'm gonna jump in and show you what I've been working on, because I have quite a few finished projects. So let's talk WIPs. The very first thing I am working on, it's in my Oh Wow Amsterdam bag. I got this from the Knitting Loft. I ordered it online last year. And I am working on a Musselburgh hat by Ysolda Teague. So this is gauge dye work in Colorwheel. This yarn here, and this is the hat. So it starts as gray, and then you knit this up, and then the colors changes start. So it's a rainbow. So we're gonna go through our greens, yellows, then oranges, pinks, purples, and then it goes back to the blues. So this is my second hat. This was the one that I had originally cast on wanting to make this hat out of, and then my gauge was off. So I cast on 3 other hats trying to get the perfect gauge. I finally got it, and now I'm ready to knit the skein that I actually intended to be a Musselburgh hat. So this has become my new like vanilla knitting. So I've been working on this mostly while I'm reading. I've been doing 30 minutes a day. I don't have any vanilla socks on the needles right now, so these hats have been what I've been working on. So I am knitting the 7 stitches per inch gauge. This is fingering weight yarn, but I had to go down to, what is this? These are 3mm needles. These are the Trescao red lace. These are some of my favorite needles. So this worked really perfectly for the gauge on my first hat. I didn't measure this hat, but I'm happy with the fabric. And I'm really, really happy to be through the gray. This was a slog for me. I wasn't enjoying it, especially since I already knit this portion of it. So I've now knit this gray twice, and I actually got into the yellow before I was like, this isn't working, and ripped it all out. I'm really happy I did, and I can't wait to see this finished product. So, Musselburgh hat, Ysolda Teague. I've got my stitch marker on here. I don't know if you can see it. It says the husband did it. These are from my favorite. I get most all of my stitch markers here, and I can picture a needle runs through it. You would think I would know by now. I haven't bought some in a while, but this is from the True Crime set. I did just buy that recently. So that is really my only WIP. Yeah, so I've been working on these hats instead of vanilla socks lately. Now, saying that, I will say, except for the last 4 days, because my first finished object is a pair of vanilla socks. So these are coloring book yarns in the Sweet Tooth colorway, just vanilla sock. I did a longer cuff this time. I do 24 rounds of 2x2 ribbing. I knit these on a 9-inch circulars. I did 70 rounds for the leg, standard heel flap and gusset. And then for my perfect fit, I use a sock ruler, and mine ends up being 70 rounds for the foot as well. And then I do Nancy from KnitSipHappy, her rounded toe. So these don't match perfectly, and I don't care. I never intended them to match perfectly. That's not something that really bothers me for socks. Sometimes I do it and sometimes I don't. So Leanne, my friend Leanne and I, we were chatting and we were both thinking that we had the itch to cast on something new. She was going to cast on some Valentine's Day socks. I didn't have any idea what I wanted to cast on, but I was off work. Sawyer was at daycare. I had a whole day to knit and I just wanted something new. So she suggested, she was doing socks and I was like, what about a Valentine's Day cowl? We can get these done by Tuesday. So I pretty much knit these in 3 days because I was sick for a day. So I started them on a Wednesday and I didn't work on them at all Friday. And so I knit them Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and I just finished them last night. This dyer is really hard to get yarn from. She does gorgeous self-striping yarn. She hasn't updated anything on Instagram since 2019, and when I checked her Etsy shop, the last review for her Etsy shop was in 2020. So this yarn is deep stash. I've had it for several years, and the only way that I got it was sporadic checking of her Etsy store and getting lucky. So I don't even know if she's still dying or not. I'm not sure, but that's how I got this several years ago. Just luck and chance. It is a really gorgeous colorway. So these are going to be for Valentine's Day. I'm going to wear them to work on Tuesday. I work on Valentine's Day, so I'll wear these with me. So that is my first finished object. So other than these vanilla socks, in the last 3 weeks since I recorded, I haven't been knitting any vanilla socks really because I've been working on my hats. And it's been a nice change because I have like tons of socks. So my second pair of socks that I finished, I showed these last time. These are 2023 What a Party It Will Be by Shirley Bryan Yarns. Again, standard vanilla sock. These ones I only did 20 rounds on the ribbing, 2x2 ribbing, 70 heel flap and gusset, 70 Nancy's toe. That's kind of my go-to recipe. Susan B. Anderson, How I Make My Socks. She has a lovely, just free, standard, basic sock pattern. So that's the one that I learned with when I first started knitting socks, and I have pretty much stuck with it because this heel flap and gusset fits me the best, and it's a really great pattern, really good instructions. So this was my 2023 What a Party It Will Be. It was the Advent full skein that I cast on Christmas Eve from my Shirley Bryan Advent that I had last year. So these socks are done. And I'm still working on knitting my mini skeins into my blanket. I'm doing the Cozy Comfort blanket by Molly of the Homespun House. I haven't worked on that since I podcast last. I've been finishing other things. So my next thing that I have finished, put them on some sock blockers. I have 2 done. These are the Wintery Wood Socks by KnitSipHappy, Nancy Wheeler. So I test knit these for Nancy. I am a diehard cuff down, heel flap and gusset sock knitter. That is my go-to. It is my best fit. But Nancy, sorry, you can hear Sawyer upstairs. Nancy is working on a toe-up pattern, and she put a call out for testers, and it has a gusset and a heel flap. And of course I thought, well, if anybody's going to change my mind about toe-up socks, it's going to be Nancy. So these are knit toe up. This is the same rounded toe that she uses in her other patterns, so I love that because I love the fit. And here is the stitch pattern. I love this detail. This is so easy to memorize too. This is Yarn Ink in the Charmed colorway. Again, deep stash. I've had it forever. I don't even know if it was like a club colorway or what. I can't really remember, but it's Yarn Ink Charmed. This mini came with it. So this detail runs all the way up. And then the back of the sock, I'll show you on the other one, has this panel. So these were really easy. I have knit toe-up socks before, so it wasn't my first time, but I've never done toe-up socks with a gusset. So you are given the pattern, you have to do a little bit of math and check your gauge, but on a portion that you've already knit, it could not have been easier. I am not somebody that checks my gauge. This was so easy. Nancy lays it out for you. I just checked it like on the back here. So then she gets you to start kind of increasing, and it's a paid for pattern, so I don't want to give anything away, but this fits so well on my foot. You do a short row heel, then you knit your heel flap, and then it's just knitting in the round. And I find that sometimes when I make toe-up socks, the cast off can be a little tight. So she gave you directions on which cast off to do. So this fits like a glove. It fits great. I still think my preference is cuff down, just because I know it so well and I have it memorized and I don't even have to think about it anymore. This is still new for me, so I have to think about it a bit. But I want to try some vanilla socks with this recipe. And I for sure would be doing this for like advent skeins or something like that, where you want to get the most bang for your buck for yardage. So this was great for that. So for the first week of sales, Nancy is donating proceeds of this pattern to the MB Heart Center. So New Brunswick has one cardiac center, and that's at the hospital that I work at. And I work in the operating room, so we do cardiac surgery every day except the weekends unless it's an emergency. So it's really nice that she chose a donation that directly impacts my work on a regular basis. Her husband, she chatted about it in her podcast, had cardiac surgery a few years ago, so it's really meaningful that she chose a charity. It's Heart Month. Nancy socks could be, supporting equipment that I get to use in my work, or supporting patients in their recovery and things like that. So it's really special. So this pattern, Wintery Wood Socks, out on Ravelry now. So nice. The fit is perfection. So that was my third finished object. So 3 pairs of socks. My next one is my first Musselburgh hat. So again, Ysolda Teague. This was knit on circular needles. I used 3mm. I did lightly block it, and I didn't block it on a balloon. I laid it out flat and just like, I didn't aggressively block it or anything. So of course I'm never gonna get this back to how it was. Yeah, this is, what is this? Groovy Hues Fibres. It's a one-of-a-kind speckled colorway. It kind of looks like Oreos to me. So I have not worn this yet because I was saving it to show, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm not like usually a slouchy hat person, but this isn't like, I don't hate this because it's still fitted through here. I like the fabric of this one so much better than the one I used before. So this is kind of just with the slouch, or you could roll it up with a brim, which I don't know. This looks a little bulky to me, but it's not terrible. I think I need to smooth out my inside a little bit more. That's what that is. It's just not perfectly, but yeah, I really like this hat. I'm more of a beanie hat person, so I do like that, you know, if it's cold, you can fold this up and you get, you know, it's double thick on your ears. I'm really enjoying it though. So I would for sure knit another one of these, which is why I'm enjoying my gauge one. And I definitely I think this is a great pattern for lots of people. Like they can kind of choose their own hat adventure of how they wear it. So I really like that. So yeah, this is Groovy Hues, one-of-a-kind speckles. The speckles on like one end kind of, this is lighter and then the other end is darker a little bit on the inside. I don't know if you can tell, but you can tell in person a little bit more. So, and I just love, like, this is so satisfying to look at. So those are my smaller finished objects. And then I finished a sweater. This sweater has been on the needles for like 2 years. This is the Trescao sweater by Avec Anna. It is definitely an oversized sweater. And the thing is, this is why I'm trying to be better about finishing projects. I don't know why I keep saying products today, but I started this 2 years ago. My body today is different than it was 2 years ago. So I kind of had to go with what I had. Like, it fits great. It's a little oversized. I don't love, like, this is how it's meant to be, but and it's good. I like it. I will wear it. But like my natural armpit is up here. And so this is like a ton of extra fabric. And this is kind of how the pattern is intended to fit. But this is a little bigger than I would go for now. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can't really see when I stand up. But I'll see if I can I'll put a picture on the screen. This is supposed to be cropped. I did not knit it cropped. I knit it like regular length, and I'm really happy with that. I love this. It's kind of a throw it on and wear it, don't think about it. I have a tank top underneath because the neckline is a little bit wider and it seems to be okay. But yeah, like, I don't need one for over here with the eyelets because they're out far enough that I don't have to worry about it. Also, I didn't gauge swatch. So part of the fit could be my own making. And I'm okay with that. I really like it. It's oversized. I knit the sleeves. I knit the sleeves to pattern, but I stopped them kind of, they're just at my elbow. because my intention is when I work in pediatric asthma clinic, I can do business casual. And so I often wear my hand knit sweaters there. And I don't, because you're washing your hands so much at work, I didn't want long sleeves to be getting in the way and having to roll them up all the time. So I thought these sleeves would be really great, where I wouldn't be getting them wet. I wouldn't have to worry about it. I wear my ranunculus a lot to asthma clinic, and it's perfect because it has 3/4 length sleeves, so I don't have to worry about it. So this color is the Queen. That's the fingering weight yarn. And Just Peachy both are by Sweet Skein of mine, Amanda. This was one of her original Bridgerton colorways, the Queen, which tells you how long this sweater has been on my needles because I bought the yarn right when she dyed it. So this is actually a free pattern. It's really, really great. I definitely encourage you to check it out because I enjoyed it. And I did not alternate skeins for this just because I didn't really feel the need to. I often do. I didn't for this one just because it was, the mohair often hides any issues that you have with indie dyed yarn. And this was just dyed. I knew it was dyed in the same dye lot because Amanda dyed it for me. And I just thought like the yarn itself, the way that the speckles are, it was so subtle that I could get away with not alternating. It's a really close up of my face. So this is finished and I'm really happy to have a lingering WIP off of the needles. It feels really good. I have one more sweater on the needles. It's my Straya cardigan and I picked it back up today. I just tried it on. I made Adam try it on and I have with me, so I needed his help because I have small circular needles on the sleeve and I didn't want to transfer the stitches. So he held my needles and he marked on my arm with a pen where the sweater was. The sleeve is fitting perfectly. I'm really happy with that. So now I need to measure my arm to see how much longer I need to knit the sleeve of this sweater. But I'm really, really enjoying it so far. I just need to finish it. And then if I could like pay somebody to come weave in all my ends, that would be like a worthwhile investment for me because I really hate weaving in ends. And there are so many ends for that sweater. But I'm going to do it because I want the finished product and I am motivated to get it finished because I feel really good getting this done and I'm happy with it. And I don't want that to be a sweater that 2 years down the road, it's already been on the needles for a year because my time hop this week was the start of that sweater. So it's been on the needles for a year and I want to finish it. I don't want it to linger. I don't want the fit to change. I'm happy with it. I want to get it done. So I have a whole sleeve to finish. I have this much of a sleeve to finish. And then I have the collar. So it's not a lot and it goes really fast. It's on circular needles, the sleeve. And now that I have all of my decreases figured out for the first sleeve, I think it'll go much faster for the second sleeve because I don't have to be continually measuring the rate of decrease and checking the fit. I did that with the first sleeve, so now I kind of can just repeat that. So happy to have this finished, hoping to have another sweater finished soon. I have been doing everything I can to not cast on a new sweater. My sweater quantity yarn is here, and I think like every day I come and look at Ravelry and look at my yarn and think, what am I gonna cast on? But then I am trying to stop myself. And like, if I really want to do something, I will. I'm not restricting myself, you know, from anything. I just feel I'm feeling better with having less a long-term languishing WIPs on the needles. Like a sweater on the needles for over 2 years, that's a little bit too much. And again, I've had a sweater on the needles for a year. Like, I have just been feeling better lately with clearing my needles quicker and being more mindful. So if I suddenly get the urge to cast one on and say, screw it, I'll do it. I just haven't found anything that has, you know, gripped me enough to do that yet. So those are my finished objects. I finished quite a bit. So I finished 3 pairs of socks, a hat, and a sweater. I only have 1 WIP, and other than that, I'm working on my Straya. I want to pick up a shawl that's again been lingering. But my sweater is going to be my new 30 minutes of knitting a day because I want to get it done. So, acquisitions. I have purchased a couple things since I chatted with you last. I got a gift card for our local yarn store, Cricket Cove, for Christmas. And we walked by Cricket Cove every Saturday on the way to swimming lessons. And Sawyer and Cindy, who works there, are best buddies. It's so cute. She's so sweet to him. So it's hard to resist when you're like, oh, that's new. So I think I mentioned last time that I had a call in to put a bag on hold. Well, this is the bag. It's by So Seams. Orange isn't usually my color, but I couldn't resist these. They're lovely. It has a nice leather handle. So Brenda, St. John, New Brunswick, So Seams, she has a Facebook page. You can also buy these at Cricket Cove. She is a former ICU nurse at the hospital that I work at who is now making bags. She's like, makes these beautiful bags. So I'm really, really happy with this. I have a couple of hers that I've been using. So I grabbed the bag with my gift card, and then I also grabbed this pin. It's a Twill and Print. It's Night Knitter. And they just got a Katrinkles order in, which I love Katrinkles. But shipping to Canada is like absolutely insanely expensive. So I was happy to just find these there. Little sock stitch markers. I love these. They're so adorable. So, because I'm doing something new with my socks, which I will talk about. And these are what I bought these with an intention. So I grabbed those with my Christmas gift card. And then I got this in the mail. It's Yarn Indulgences You're the Best sock marl. So it's 80/20. This was a sweet, sweet gift that I received. And oh, I love it. Purples, pinks. So I don't know, I'm saving this. I have another skein right here of Deborah's sock yarn that I purchased at an event last year. So anyways, this was a sweet gift for testing that I received, and I just love it so much. So I'm gonna wait to see what that becomes. And then I was at work and I saw that the Creative Knitter was having an update, and I am a sucker for names or like good marketing, or like you put one of my favorite things on your yarn and I'm buying it. I can't help it. I don't have any willpower. So I ordered some yarn because Dirty Dancing. Is this not Dirty Dancing? This is Dirty Dancing. Like, come on. Johnny's jacket, baby's dress. Like, I couldn't resist. This is perfection. So this is the Creative Knitter Dirty Dancing colorway. So I saw that this update was live, and I was waiting for the elevator to go up to our ICU. I was looking for pressure bags, and so I like added it to my cart, checked out, had a saved credit card checked out. Like, I didn't want to be, you know, was buying yarn at work while I was waiting for the elevator. So I was trying to get it done before I had to, you know, oh, elevator's here, get back to work kind of thing. So I checked out, and then when I looked later at my email, it was like, thank you, Sandra, for your purchase. And I was like, what the hell? And then I realized my parents are not very tech savvy, so I often do a lot of their online shopping for them. And I accidentally purchased this yarn with my mom's credit card. So I had to text her and be like, if you see a purchase from the Creative Knitter on your credit card, it's not fraudulent. It was me. So I had already sent her an email transfer when I told her this, and she was like, oh, Heather. And then she was like, do I get to keep the yarn? I was like, no, I don't think so. So this also mailed to her house. So I had to wait for my dad to grab it from the mailbox. So this will be socks for sure. I'm going to add it to these are all my like sock sets. So that is going in there. And then she was so sweet and included some tags, handmade with love. These are adorable, and I love these little tags. They're great for like, well, anything. I have some hats that I want to make Sawyer, so just clipping that under the brim would be perfect. So that is all I have purchased. I did buy another project bag. Sorry, you can probably hear Sawyer running around up there. I did purchase another project bag from the Fat Squirrel. It's a library book one, and it was like a 6 to 8 week pre-order, and it's like a big one. So that hasn't come yet, but I just got a notification that it ships, and that was like a treat yourself kind of moment. I made my goal for books read for last year, and I have already started on my goal for this year. So that was kind of my reward for meeting my goal, and I've really enjoyed reading more, and I'm proud that I got back into it and found a way to balance knitting and reading, because before it was either or, and now I get to do both. So speaking of books, if you are not interested in book chatter, I just have a couple this time. So I haven't read that many since I chatted last. I finished a novella set by Ali Hazelwood called the STEMinist Novellas. Basically STEM, women in STEM. There's 3 novellas in the book. One is Stuck on You, Below Zero, and Under One Roof. So they're about 3 friends and their different love stories, and they are a little spicy, and they were really good. They were about 100 pages each, so like flew through those. Just fluffy, light reading, totally enjoyable. I really liked those. I finished The Three Sisters by Heather Morris, which is the Auschwitz, tattooist of Auschwitz 3rd book in that series, I guess. I liked the other 2 more. I still liked this one. It just didn't grab me as much as the other 2 did. It talked about the experience after the war a lot too, which not all World War II books do. So that was something that was nice. I did really like it. The other ones, I couldn't put them down. So speaking of couldn't put them down, I really liked this one. It's All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. It's a thriller. I just listened to it on audiobook. I renewed my Audible subscription because the library waitlist for audiobooks lately has been long, and there hasn't been much available that I really was enjoying. So I renewed my Audible subscription. This was the first one I listened to, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. Like, it was 5 stars for me. I didn't see the ending coming. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a suspense. I've read her books before and enjoyed them, so it's no surprise that I liked this one too. Then my current book club book is called The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. I'm only like a chapter into this one. I keep picking it up at bedtime and then falling asleep and hitting myself in the face with my e-reader. There is a series on one of the streaming services that's coming out based on this book, so that's kind of why we picked it for book club. But I want to get into it. I just need to pick it up not at bedtime when I am already tired. And then I'm listening to an audiobook right now from the library. When I finished Verity by Colleen Hoover, I put a bunch of books on hold at my library through the Libby app because the wait takes forever. So I didn't even read what a lot of them were about. I just went to like the most popular ones, and if it was authors that I knew I had read or listened to before that I enjoyed, I put a bunch of them on hold. So after reading Verity, I was like, whew, I really enjoyed that book. So I put Colleen Hoover on hold, and this one is All Your Perfects. I don't know, she's like ridiculously popular right now. And other than Verity, like they've been okay, but I don't think I'm in like the coho frenzy that a lot of other people are. It's a free book and it's enjoyable. I'm listening to it. It's only 9 hours long. So it's okay so far. I don't really know where we're going with it though. So maybe you're gonna tune in next time and I'm gonna be like, oh my God, the ending. But it just hasn't gripped me yet. And trigger warning, it does talk about miscarriage and troubles conceiving, so that is always a little hard for me to listen to too, which might be why I'm not like gripped by it, because we've been in that situation ourselves. So yeah, maybe that's why, but it's not terrible. I mean, it's just like light, you don't have to think about it. But I do have a couple on hold that are coming up that I'm really excited for. I feel like I don't have any books on the go right now that like I'm really, really looking forward to. So I might need to go through my Kobo and pick something from my library that I have already downloaded, because I feel like I'm losing steam just because there's nothing that's like really motivating me to read right now. So I think I'm going to do that. And I think that is it. We are going bowling later today. We're gonna go on a family date to the bowling alley, and they have an arcade there, which Sawyer loves, even though he is 4, well, almost 5, I guess. He plays like the whack-a-mole, and there's a Jurassic Park game that he really likes, but he just likes the thrill of it. And I'm sure there'll be snacks there that he'll con us into getting. So we're going to do that after quiet time, and I'm going to bring my Musselburgh hat in the car for some car knitting. That's why I got those socks done so quickly. I had a day off work, and then Adam has been home, so he's been driving everywhere. So I get like uninterrupted car knitting, and when he is at work, I don't get that. So yeah, I'm glad he's home to drive everywhere. He jokingly is like, oh, did you want me to drive? Should I drive? Like it's even a question. He's a good supportive yarn husband. I can't ever complain about that. I did have to wind my own yarn for those Valentine's Day socks, and I don't know if you saw my Instagram stories, but it was not good. It flew off. It was on the floor. I had a huge knot in it. I should have just been patient and waited for Adam to have his nap, and then got him to wind my yarn, because I don't know, my tension is not as good as his, and it was flying everywhere. But they're done. So I think that is it for today. We're gonna watch Super Bowl. We're having a couple friends over, nothing big. Well, I don't even know, like I'm not invested in the game this year because our team's not playing. We do love football, but again, like I gotta work tomorrow, and we have a kid now that gets up early, so I feel like we're at a different season of our life, so sleep is so important. Whereas when I was younger and I didn't have a kid, I could stay up and it was no problem. But yeah, we're more tired now, so we will see. Anyways, I am signing off for today. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will chat with you next time. Bye.